These are creepy TikToks that will make you rethink your whole reality.
August 1989, a man pulled to the side of Interstate 205 after his car overheated. Him and his son decided to go and find the nearest phone for help, but discovered a jacket not too far from the car. Under the jacket was an unlabeled VHS tape, but they were not prepared for its contents.
My hell, the whole sky's black with smoke. The fire department's trying to put it out. What a laugh. But get it no more.
You really need to make sure you're double checking your house at night. This story comes from a woman named Shannon who lived in Seattle. Shannon lived alone, but for months she was complaining about weird noises coming from inside her house at night. And sometimes she would wake up with bruises on her arms that had no explanation. Shannon would also come home from work to find things in her home were not the same as she left them. Like this one time she came home and saw sawdust all over her living room floor. So that's when she set up a camera and caught this image in her kitchen one night at midnight.
A lot of Christians will not listen to Taylor Swift anymore. They believe she's crossed a line, she's doing way too much demonic shit. There's a really interesting new crazy conspiracy theory about one of her songs in particular.
I'm back, it's your boy F-I-T-T-I to the E, and today we're looking at this compilation together, so grab your water, your popcorn, whatever you want. Just remember to like and subscribe, and if you want, a nice Christmas gift for your son, your grandfather, anyone in your family, or just your friends, check the link down below. These chains are going right now. We're actually going pretty quickly. If you like the drip and you like the bling, just check the link down below. Like, what are you waiting for?
This is the dark side of trick-or-treating. Multiple sightings of this clown were reported in Denver on Halloween night. And many of the reports claim that this person was handing out candy in different neighborhoods. Now, most adults didn't let their kids get anywhere near the clown, but a few unsupervised children grabbed candy from him. Candy that was collected as evidence showed disturbing images and satanic verses on the wrappers. A few of the children that ate the candy were actually monitored in a hospital overnight and deemed okay by doctors, but a few of them have now reported an inability to sleep. And one 10-year-old boy has reported an overwhelming desire to go find this clown, who he told his parents lives in the woods behind the school. Police are now looking for any other information the Denver community might have on this person.
What really doesn't make sense to me is that you gotta really be careful of who your kids are getting candy from on Halloween, but it's like, if this guy lives in the back of the woods, how the hell did they get to his house to get candy from him?
Let's talk about this picture. It was captured by Amanda Clark in 2017 when she was walking by the window of her ski cabin and she saw what appeared to be a man staring back at her. Now, that photo that Amanda captured was sent directly to her boyfriend, saying that there was this man trying to stalk the cabin. However, she was going to run into the same issue she would with trying to call 911. There is no service in the mountains. She could sense there was something deeply wrong with this situation. The man was just staring at her through the window. She had no idea what his intentions were, till he darted towards the house and tried to pry open the downstairs window. Luckily, he never got in, and the boyfriend did eventually return. They contacted police, and that's how we got this sketch. But that man was never caught.
Now, it's really crazy that how when you're in the woods sometimes there's no service, and then boom, some crazy stuff always have to happen. No service, crazy shit happens.
Have you heard the terrifying mystery of Hotel Room 1046? One fateful day in January 1935, a man who identified himself as Roland T. Owen checked into the hotel president in Kansas City. Staff noted he was in his 20s and was nicely dressed in a black coat. He said he was from Los Angeles and requested an interior room several floors up and was booked into room 1046. A bellboy helped Owen to his room and noted that he had no luggage, only seemed to have packed a brush and toothpaste. Later that day, a hotel maid named Mary Soaptic said Owen allowed her to clean up the room and noted how dark he kept it in there, with only one dimly lit lamp on and the shades completely drawn. As she left, Owen asked her to leave the door unlocked and said he had a friend coming to visit very soon. Mary said that he seemed worried about something or afraid. She returned later that day to drop off fresh towels and walked into the room to find Owen awake, lying on the bed in the dark, completely dressed with the door unlocked. As she was leaving, she saw a note on the table that read, "Dawn, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait." The next morning, she returned to clean the room at 10:30 a.m. per usual and saw the door had been locked from the outside and assumed that Owen had left for the day. But she was startled to walk in to find him again lying on the bed, awake in the dark. This meant that someone had locked Owen in the room from the outside. At this point, if I was Mary, I would have made like a bread truck and hauled buns. Okay, I would have been out of there. Mary cleaned up and recalled that during this, Owen answered the phone and said, "No, Dawn, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry." Again coming to deliver towels to 1046 later in the day, she heard two men talking inside the room and knocked on the door when a deep voice asked, "Who is it?" Mary said she had fresh towels and the voice replied back, "We don't need any." The following morning at 7 a.m., the hotel's operator noted that the phone in Owen's room had been off the hook for a while. A bellboy was sent up to the room, knocked on the door, and heard a deep voice say, "Come in, turn on the lights." But the door was locked and no one was getting up to let him in, so he yelled, "Put the phone back on the hook," and left. An hour passes and the phone is still off the hook, so another bellboy enters the room with a master key. Owen appeared to be sleeping in the bed, lying in the dark. The bellboy noticed the phone stand was knocked over, so he stood it back up, put the phone back on the receiver, and then left. A few hours later, the phone is off the hook again, so the bellboy goes back up and opens the door to a terrifying scene. There was Owen, lying within 2 feet of the door. He had been attacked.
Urban legend of
Sarah Jane.
During the American Civil War, there was a road in Texas between Groves and Port Neches. A woman named Sarah Jane lived on this road. Her husband was away fighting in the war as a Confederate soldier. When enemy soldiers were passing through the area, Sarah Jane feared that they would kill her and her baby. She went down to the river and placed her small infant in a wicker basket. Then Sarah hid the baby under the bridge to protect the child. Sarah made her way back down the road to her home and waited for the Union soldiers to arrive. After the soldiers passed by, she went back to the bridge to retrieve her baby. Unfortunately, the baby was nowhere to be found. The tide had risen and carried the baby away downstream. Sarah Jane searched through the night down the banks of the Neches River for hours in hopes of finding her baby safe and sound. Neighbors could hear Sarah Jane's screams as she searched, and she kept running up to people, weeping pitifully and asking, "Have you seen my baby?" Grief-stricken and unable to find her child, Sarah Jane walked back to the bridge and hung from the wooden beams beneath it. When people found her body, they saw a message scratched into the wood under the bridge that read, "Where is my baby?" As the story goes, if you go out to Sarah Jane Road at night and stand by the water's edge, you can still hear Sarah Jane's baby crying off in the distance. Some people claim they've spotted a noose hanging beneath the bridge. Others say they've also seen Sarah Jane's ghost searching along the side of the river for the infant child she lost so many years ago. Locals say you can stand in the middle of the bridge on a dark night and call for the ghost of Sarah Jane to appear. You have to repeat 7 times, "I've got your baby, Sarah Jane."
If she did put her baby under the bridge, wouldn't the soldiers just be able to hear the baby crying? Because babies just love to cry, so. It's really sad that when she couldn't find the kid, she had it off herself, though. That's some deep pain.
Here's some of the most disturbing lost footage. On August 15th, 1989, a man pulled to the side of Interstate 205 after his car overheated. Him and his son decided to go and find the nearest phone for help, but discovered a jacket not too far from the car. Under the jacket was an unlabeled VHS tape, but they were not prepared for its contents.
My hell. The whole sky's black with smoke. The fire department's trying to put it out. What a laugh. Look at it, Omar.
The cameraman was standing not far from a house completely in flames while whispering strange and eerie phrases to himself. The footage was given to the police, but they were unable to identify the house or the cameraman. The jacket that the tape was found with was also searched by police, and they found a wooden pestle and a ceramic skull, which made them suspect the arsonist was a devil worshipper. It wasn't until the tape was featured on the show Unsolved Mysteries that the house was identified. The house was located in Redwood City, about 80 miles from where the tape was found. On the night of the fire, the Woodside fire captain also recorded the burning house, and the videos were soon found to be a confirmed match. Redwood City Police Detective Mark Polo stated that he already had 2 suspects. Both were minors. After questioning the pair, they both admitted to starting the fire. One was sent to juvie while the other was committed to a mental hospital.
I really wonder what was bro's ideal purpose behind that video. Like, okay, you set a house on fire, you and Omar just gonna watch it be on fire? Like, that's not even cool, bro.
What I'm about to show you is the photo Katrina Whalen captured on her Ring camera the other night. So Katrina lives alone down a long country road in West Texas. And 3 nights ago, she invited a friend over for dinner at 7 p.m. But 7 rolls around and her friend's not there. And then 8 rolls around and her friend is still not there. And that's when Katrina starts to hear footsteps outside. Slow at first, but then it starts to sound like someone is running full speed at her house. Thinking it's her friend, she goes to open the door, but no one is there. So Katrina calls her friend, but then when the other line picks up, it's just heavy breathing. And then laughing. She's really freaked out now, so she runs upstairs, but that's when she gets the notification that someone is at her front door. And this was that someone. Katrina is still alive to tell the tale, but there's been an uptick in Reddit users complaining in West Texas of hearing someone outside and then answering the door to see no one is there.
If you're in Texas and someone knocking on your door and they're not there, just be careful, man. It might be that person.
These are the top 5 scary games you should never play in real life, part 1. Okay, number 5 is the Midnight Game. This game is extremely terrifying and I don't recommend anyone playing. To start the game, get a piece of paper and write your first, middle, and last name on it. Next, prick your finger and put a drop of blood on the piece of paper and wait for it to soak in. Now turn off all the lights in your house and stand in front of your front door. Now place the piece of paper in front of your door and at midnight, knock on your front door 22 times. Now go inside and light a match. You have just invited the Midnight Man into your house. Now walk around your house with the match in your hand, and your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man. If your match goes out, it means the Midnight Man is very close by, and if you don't relight the match in 10 seconds, the Midnight Man will get you and kill you. And once the time hits 3:33 a.m., you are safe and the Midnight Man will be gone.
Yeah, best believe I'm not playing that game. I don't know why people would want to play games like that. Like, let's say you hear a game's curse, why would you want to play it? Like, let's be real.
This is the truth behind the Tooth Fairy. Now, everyone knows who the Tooth Fairy is. Once you lose a tooth, you put it under your pillow, and she comes in the middle of the night to take it and give you money. But what if I told you the Tooth Fairy is much more scarier than that? And that the Tooth Fairy has a much darker backstory. The story goes that a kid lost 2 of their teeth in the same day, and proceeded to tell her parents that she lost both of her teeth. Now, this was the first time she ever lost any teeth, so her parents told her what to do with them and put them under her pillow for money. So she proceeded to do that, and a couple hours later she was getting ready for bed. Her parents tucked her in and she was about to fall asleep, but that's when she sees her door creak open. It's super dark in her room so she can't see anything, but she squints her eyes to look at the doorway and sees something standing there. But then her door proceeds to fully open and you won't believe what was at the door. Hit the plus button.
Let me guess, it was some scary person that is supposedly the Tooth Fairy? If so, it's pretty obvious.
Can I show you a scary video? No, because this video is crazy and nobody really talked about it. Like, it got news articles, but the original video didn't even go that viral. This video is from 2020 and it comes from Bogotá, Colombia. And in the video, the man starts to hear strange sounds at this airport called El Dorado. And he goes to investigate, and this happens.
Nadie allá. Dios mío. Bueno, voy para adentro. La sangre de Cristo me cura. Hola, hola. Hola. Hola, hola. ¿Estás acá? ¿Dónde estás? Se prenden las luces. ¿Estás jugando con la llave? ¿Ah? ¿Estás jugando con la llave? ¿Ah? Necesito otra prueba. Necesito otra prueba. ¡Ay, marica!
All of you know who's Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig is actually some kind of demon and not an adorable cartoon pig. When you search Peppa Pig's house or Peppa Pig, you will see another Peppa Pig in the house. I know you all know that, but I'm just telling you, maybe you don't know or you know. So, here is the story of Peppa Pig. Peppa was never a healthy child. She was usually ill and spent her short life in a hospital bed. One night, Peppa's parents decided it would be best if they euthanized her. So that night, Peppa fell asleep and she was injected with a poison, thus killing her.
Man, I used to watch Peppa Pig when I was a kid. I did not know all that. Is that even true? If you know anything about that, put that down in the comments.
Photos from Follow for More.
Disturbing things caught on camera. Lauren Combs lives in an isolated area and enjoys spending time with her 2 pets. She would upload videos about her 2 pets to the internet until one day strange events started happening. First, while talking to her sister in the kitchen, a bottle suddenly fell on the table. Next, while exploring her backyard, she noticed a half-dead tree with holes. After closing up on the tree, she finds the skull of a dead animal. If that wasn't creepy and disturbing enough, wait until you see this. If this creeped you out, hit the plus sign.
I don't know, they live with animals, so I feel like if it really was like a presence, I feel like the animals would have picked up on it. I don't know, that's just my personal beliefs.
This photo is of the Cincinnati Crawler. It was taken by a family who caught him in their home in 1974, but he escaped shortly afterwards. So in 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati noticed a couple weird things happening in their home. The 14-year-old daughter, Claire, would complain about seeing glowing eyes outside of her window at night. And then one night, the youngest son, Timmy, was laying in bed in the dark when he felt the family dog jump up onto his bed. But when he went to go pet it, it was not the dog. It was the Crawler, who police still believe was responsible for the disappearance of 4 other boys in the area. Some believe that he was an escaped convict, while others actually believe that he was the victim of human experiments happening in the area that may have been conducted by the family's dad. Claire snapped this photo of him before he escaped, but he was never found since.
Have you heard the urban legend of Carmen Winstead? Disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I repeat, this video is for entertainment purposes only. If you get scared easily, you might want to click off this video. This story goes way back. Before there were creepypastas, there was something called chain mail, where you would be emailed these scary stories, and if you didn't send them to 15 other people, something bad would happen to you. And the most popular chainmail scary story was that of Carmen Winstead. There was a girl named Carmen who moved to a new school and didn't have many friends, but eventually she found a friend group of 5 girls. They all became best friends until Carmen realized that the girls were talking about her behind her back. Not only were they talking about her, but they were also spreading rumors about her, saying that she wipes snot on people and that she lives in the underground sewer system. Little did these girls know that their bullying would have the worst consequences ever.
You really need to make sure you're double checking your house at night. This story comes from a woman named Shannon who lived in Seattle. Shannon lived alone, but for months she was complaining about weird noises coming from inside her house at night. And sometimes she would wake up with bruises on her arms that had no explanation. Shannon would also come home from work to find things in her home were not the same as she left them. Like this one time she came home and saw sawdust all over her living room floor. So that's when she set up a camera and caught this image in her kitchen one night at midnight. Shannon was obviously terrified, so she called the police, who came to her house and tore up everything looking for clues as to who the intruder was. And that's when they found this hole behind her couch. And inside this hole was rope, tape, a lock of Shannon's hair, and a vial of her blood. Police said that it looked like someone had been living in this hole for months. Whoever this was never found, and Shannon has since moved homes, but every now and then she complains of a weird scratching noise at night.
I honestly feel like that's most girls. I feel like most girls wake up with bruises on their body. The sawdust, yeah, I don't believe that's everyone. If I caught someone living in my house, oh my god, I'm just gonna have to be like, what?
We need to talk about this photo. This was sent to me by one of my followers, Laura, and when I read this true story about what happened to her, my jaw was on the floor. I've never read a story that actually happened to someone that was this terrifying. So let's get into the story. This photo was taken when I was 1. I had a nanny back in Indonesia and she acted very strange. Everyone felt uneasy around her and felt chills whenever she was around. Her eyes were cold and she was awkward, but at first we didn't think much of it. She was only around for a couple weeks because the next thing that happened blew my mind. One day my mom came home and found our door unlocked, the lights off, and the sound of someone's voice chanting. And on top of that, I was screaming and crying. So my mom got our neighbor and together they barged in the door, only to find me latched onto my nanny and no one could pull me off. They had to perform some kind of exorcism in order to get my arms off of her. And then she started mumbling under her breath saying, "This is impossible, usually they be by now." Later, we found out there was a group of people in a satanic cult that went around nearby towns pretending to be nannies so they can perform sacrifices to the devil and pretend it's an accident. In return, they were promised fame and money. And based on the words this lady mumbled after the ritual, it's clear that this isn't the first time she's performed this sacrifice. I only found this out months ago, but every time I see this photo, I feel chills down my spine. Oh my god.
Yo, that's absolutely ridiculous. Imagine having a nanny and whole time nanny's performing rituals on your kid. Yo, I would be so mad. That's actually kind of scary.
A lot of Christians will not listen to Taylor Swift anymore. They believe she's crossed a line, she's doing way too much demonic shit. There's a really interesting new crazy conspiracy theory about one of her songs in particular. Craziest conspiracy theory ever about Taylor Swift is that she is the rejuvenated clone of the high priestess of the Church of Satan, Zena LaVey. Their lips, nose, eyes look identical. They both happen to have the same fixation of snakes and snake handling. And it's insane because they're both renowned singer-songwriters. Like, that's their main job. Each of them, they have too much in common. Now, in 2023, there's definitely been an uptick in the amount of demonic symbolism in Taylor Swift's music videos and songs. This amazing Christian TikToker, Karu, got millions of likes for saying,
"Here's why I don't listen to Taylor Swift anymore as a Christian."
His theory that he talks about specifically is about the Willow music video where there's this string attached to her piano, and anytime someone hears her play music, they get entranced and obsessed with her. They want to be by her. And his whole point was that people get so obsessed with Taylor to the point where they're almost worshiping her like she has their soul or something. In the video, she's on her ritualistic witch ceremony shit. He thinks all those oars represent people's souls who are obsessed with Taylor. And she follows that string right back to her piano because that's what gets people to be obsessed with her. That's where her power lies. This makes sense because Willow is very demonic coded on tour. Before I say the craziest part about this whole conspiracy theory, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about each of your favorite celebrities and request who you want to see next.
I personally don't listen to Taylor Swift, but there has been a lot of demonic trends lately. Like Doja Cat's been on it. Like a lot of these artists, even The Weeknd has been on like these demonic trends. I don't know what's going on in the industry, but it's probably just an agenda, honestly. But hey man, you either listen to it or you don't.
I feel like you're a straight talker.
I am.
Except you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
So why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
Why did the relationship fracture?
Oh, well, why it fractured, that's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
Jada says she considered a legal divorce, but could never go through with it.
I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. And I just haven't been able to break that promise.
But you still live separately.
We live separately.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going around with Jada and Will Smith. Me personally, you know, it's not my business, so I don't even really know if I should speak on that. I'm not like no celebrity gossip drama person, if I'm being real. But all I'm saying is that I don't know who's in the right. I gotta know like both sides of the story in depth, because all I know is like Jada's been like bashing Will Smith and everyone's been clowning Jada and Will. So who knows, honestly. Maybe the situation looks kind of crazy, like listening to it from the outside. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Remember, get some of these chains as a Christmas gift for your loved ones. If you guys like the video, please like the video. Remember, subscribe. Peace out, boys.